Kathy wants me to finish pretty much before I started, so I'm going to race through this. Really interesting contributions this morning, and I suspect I'm about to bring things crashing down to what it's actually like trying to do some of this stuff on the ground, which is challenging. And by that I mean, as a district council and planning authority, what we're trying to do is deliver very significant growth. So lots of houses, lots of new employment space, a new town centre, and a new transport network to join it all together. And getting all the bodies and stakeholders involved in that facing in the same direction, together with one's politicians, is a very difficult thing to achieve. And those of you who work in local government and in a political environment will know a bit about what I mean by that. Just to orientate yourself, this is where Mid-Sussex is. You can see how that fits with some of the strategic networks that we've been discussing today. This is Burgess Hill, and this is where we'll be concentrating most of the growth in Mid-Sussex. That's because 60% of Mid-Sussex is either in the national park or AONB. So that means where we grow is pretty constrained. To the south of our district, Burgess Hill is the town around which most of the growth will be going to 2031. And these are where we've got live programmes of activity now as an authority. I absolutely haven't got time to talk about those, so I'm going to try and talk about these, which have got transport implications. Working at the top there, the large blue area is the largest housing site that we are working on. It's going to deliver up to 3,500 new homes. It's a green field site called the Northern Arc. That's its vital statistics. Why is this important or relevant to this conference? Well, it needs a road. And easier said than done, actually, when you're working with 3 developers and about 12 landowners. And that's a £90 million road required to join new housing to the existing transport network. Now, the way this works in the commercial world is that house developers like to build a few houses and then pay for a bit of road, and then build a few more houses and then pay for a bit more road. That does not work for local communities, and it doesn't work in terms of making the town work. So where we have been working for some time is with Homes England, and Homes England have now acquired all that site, and they will be funding the road up front, which means that we have absolute certainty that we will get the network that we need to keep this town moving. Moving around clockwise, I'm going to skip to the bottom to Burgess Hill Station. This quaint cottage is Burgess Hill Station. We'll be working very hard to engage Network Rail to encourage them to consider investment in this and the other station in Burgess Hill, which is Wivelsfield, which I daren't even show you a photograph of Wivelsfield Station. The population in Burgess Hill is going to increase by 40% to 2031, and connectivity to London and the rest of the region is essential in terms of the way our economy works, and that means these sorts of things cannot stay looking like that, quaint though it is. We've secured about £11 million to help us with a sustainable transport package, much of which will be focused on the 2 railway stations in the town, but on other initiatives, some of which are listed there. Going back and riding round again to sort of 6 o'clock now, town centre redevelopment, which is the new one, quick test. We are going to completely redevelop the town centre. We're the freeholder of the town centre, so we've used our own land ownership to lever in investment into the town centre. Why is this important? Well, it needs to be joined to all the new housing and employment space that we are creating. Again, that's where the sustainable transport package comes in, and another complexity in all our work in Burgess Hill. Working round to that sustainable transport package, we'll be operating that in about 5 phases, concentrating on the railway stations, but other key networks, and trying to anticipate trends, particularly in terms of electric vehicles and alternative ways of moving around our place, which is car-dominated at the moment, and that won't work going forward. So that £11 million of investment, LGF money, very important for us. Back up to the top here, to our main employment areas. The blue and gold areas are what I'll call traditional employment space. You probably know in our region there's a great dearth of high quality employment space, and we talk to businesses all the time and we know how much that space is needed. We also know that house prices and land values mean that the development sector will always want to put housing on sites where they can. So very important for us as a planning authority to hold on to employment space for the local economy. The large red area we're promoting as a science and technology park. The government is behind us with that, and it's being actively promoted by the Department of Trade and with Greg Clark, who we met very recently. Why is this important for the conference today? Because the A2300 is our main road connecting the A23, M23 corridor, about which we've heard a lot today, which is a very significant route for our region, into Burgess Hill. So we've secured £17 million to help us dual that road, and that in turn will allow access to the employment space and the new homes, and will connect to the new road, which will run through the new housing, which will connect to the town centre, if it all goes according to plan, of course, which hopefully it will. Finally, digital. Big push on digital in our area, not least because whilst we love our rail and road network, it is horribly congested. It glows red at peak times, and so one of the things we really feel is imperative for our local economy is to invest in digital infrastructure. We've secured a modest £2.2 million from DCMS to pilot a new approach which will bring full fibre connectivity to our town. We'll bring it up Brighton Main Line, and this is how it will roll out. As the new roads go in, the fibre goes in alongside it. And I think those of you who know what kind of GVA benefits full fibre or gigabit connectivity can bring to a local economy, and that will be one of our priorities. Crucial to this project will be that once the fibre is in the ground, it will not be controlled by a commercial enterprise, it will be controlled by a trust, which will mean that we can ensure that the price of accessing that fibre for local business is kept reasonable. Finally, you can gather from our point of view which of those regional investments corridors are important for us and our work. I've highlighted them there. They speak for themselves, really. And the final vital statistics for Burgess Hill. How did I do?
You did brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you.